I hear you.
With speaking about the speaker wire, since speaker wires have it's actually two wires, would you split it and use one for each side?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do.
Okay.
And that's what I do all the time. I split it, and then I use one for one side of the dipole and one for the other side of the dipole. So not a problem. Not a problem. And I'm still trying to find. Of course, I worked late today, so I just got on a few seconds ago, and I have no idea what they did. Oh, here they are.
Do you have to take the insulation off that wire?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope. Nope. So here's my radio real time. I got my webcam pointed at my radio right here. Okay. So you can see that this down here matches what's happening up here. So no problem up here in this area. Okay. And, oh, I don't like this new interface at all. Hold on. Drawing tools. Erase all drawings. Let's try this. Drawing tools. All right. So this here is matching what this is up here. And I'm going to turn up the volume just a little bit. And you can hear.
Hey, Joe, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm dying to know, what model radio is that you use?
That's the ICOM 7100. I'm sorry, ICOM IC 7000. It's IC 7000. This is a great radio. It was designed. The face comes off of it. You can hook it up to an external monitor. It was really designed as a mobile unit, but it does everything. And they discontinued this radio, and you can pick it up for a great bargain on eBay. Anyway, so no problem. So what you're listening to is CW, right? Morse code. And I have it tuned in on this frequency, 40 meters. And hold on, I'm going to go back to my. And now what I did was I ran it through this program. And this program, it's actually decoding the CW, and you can start to read, okay? So they abbreviate, like TNX is thanks, okay? And sometimes you'll see me do the same thing. I'll say free, DE, see the DE here? Okay, that's shorthand for from. So DE from W3DF. And then this is some distortion, and then it's going to distort some more. Right now it's snowing in New York, or raining, or doing something nasty. The weather's just miserable. So I wanted you to see what digital modes sound like. And yes, Morse code, as primitive as it is a digital mode. There's no voice, right? So since there's no voice in the modulation, it's just on and off. It's considered digital, okay? And then we can decide from all of these different digital modes, and actually there's many, many more modes, and they're all variants of a specific type. So these are variants of CW, okay, just different flavors. You know, like they have vanilla, then they have French vanilla, and you know, all that kind of stuff. This is RIDI, okay.
Joe,
yes.
can I dictate and have it translate into CW?
Yeah, you can, as a matter of fact. Yeah, you don't even have to dictate. So right here, for example, okay, what you can do is you can actually send, and they have shorthand here. So if I were to press this button, okay, right here where my mouse is, it would say CQ, CQ from, right, the E is from, W2BMP, and I would do it twice, and PSE, you know, please respond, K is stop. Right? So if I wanted to send that, I'd press this button, okay, and see, it's now, the computer's now sending it out, all automatically. Okay?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so this is called totally cheating, okay, but it's okay. So if you want to cheat, you can pick up Ham Radio Deluxe. The interface between the radios is very inexpensive. Just a few bucks. Yes, they make one for Baofungs, for those cheap Chinese radios, and you can impress your friends and everybody how fast you can send Morse code, because you can adjust the speed here from If you're transmitting 100 words a minute, man, you're smoking, or you can slow it down. The idea here is, and I want you to remember it, is you want to transmit at the same speed that you're receiving, okay? Why? Because that's just common courtesy. So if you get somebody who's very slow, and this tells you how many words per minute you're receiving, okay? So you're receiving 3.9, so I would transmit at 3.9, or in that area, okay? I don't want to get some poor guy struggling at 3.9 words a minute and transmit back to him at 100 words a minute. First of all, he'll know you're cheating, and second of all, you'll freak him out. So, you know, this is a hobby. We're all nice to each other, right? So, yeah, so you can absolutely do this. No problem. So anyway, and as you can see, as the evening progresses on, it's still a little early on 40 meters. In about another hour, you'll see all these red boxes all over the place, and everybody will be talking to everybody, and it's just, you know, it just gets crazy. So I wanted to just demonstrate to you what digital bands look like. And if I wanted to switch to something else, so RTTY is an example. This is PSK31, which is the most common. We could do that, and then they have all different flavors. There are many, 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 many more protocols that they've developed, but the main ones that you're responsible for are CW, continuous wave, Morse code, RTTY, which uses the Bordeaux code, okay? And the easy way to remember this, and I'm certainly not going to use profanity in the class, but is a word that rhymes with RTTY, which means crappy, but it's not crappy, it's the other word, okay? So in ham radio, RTTY is fill in the blank, right? And the reason is RTTY is pretty reliable. It gets through, but it has no error correction. So if a signal is sent over the air and it isn't received well, it'll come up distorted. Much more forgiving is this PSK. Forget the B in front of it, okay? PSK31. You can transmit much, much faster, 4 times faster, and it checks to make sure that what it sent, you received. Okay, so that's the most popular. Again, forget the B in front of the PSK. PSK31 is one of the most reliable protocols out there. Okay, so RTTY, slow, 300 baud, really slow. Okay, I wouldn't try to send any large files over this. I would rather use PSK31. Okay, and there's a million more that you can use. This only goes into just a few of them, but there's a gazillion more. They have Contesta, they have, it's just a million different protocols, all slight variations of that. Okay? Any question on this stuff? No? I want to close some of these screens. All right, cool. All right, so I just wanted to show you how that worked, and we're going to come back and play with these a little bit later. So just wanted to give you a quick demonstration of this. All right, cool. Now, I promised you guys, everybody has their calculator, right? So I promised everybody that I was going to explain how to compute dB. And remember, dB is nothing more and nothing less than a ratio. It's a comparison, okay? And there's another type of dB which they use to measure sound levels, all right? Don't confuse the two. All right, so a jet engine, for example, 125 dB, that's an indication of how much noise it produces. But we're not dB, we're talking about dB as far as it relates to power. All right, so let's see, get my pen. And here I'm going to make everybody's day upset, but I don't mean to. And I'm going to show you this very complicated formula. And you'll say, why is he doing that? I don't like this. I don't like this one at all. All right. Let me make this bigger so you can see this better. Come on. This interface, this new interface is just awful. I got to hit 5 buttons to make things work. All right. So here on this line on the study sheet, all right, told you you need to memorize these things, okay? So when I say something was a 3 dB gain, okay, the power changed. 6 dB, the power quadrupled. And 10 dB, a tenfold increase. What does that mean in English? I'll tell you. If I can get this pen to work. Okay, let's see. Is my pen working? No. How come? I don't like that. Oh, nope. That's so odd. Maybe if I put it here, it'll work. Select drawing tool, pen.
Might change ink color, Joe.
Huh?
Might try changing ink color.
It should switch to a pen, but it doesn't. I'll try. I'll certainly try that.
All the time.
Yeah. You have that new interface that they have, that new streamlined interface?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I hate it too.
Yeah.
I don't know how to, yeah. Oh, it lets me write on my desktop.
Not on the other image.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, they really changed it.
Yeah, wow. Okay, anyway, so to compute dB, okay, I got to move my mouse way out of the way here. So we have two things, okay? Can everybody see that if I do it in the corner? Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes,
I drew a line? Okay. So we say, you know what? I don't need this right now. Forgive me, guys. This is my first time with this new interface, and it's just making me nuts. All right, let me get this out of the way. All right, and I'm going to do it right here. All right, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go right here. So the first thing you need to know, okay, so dB is 10 times the log of 10 over the measured power over the reference power. That sounds really complicated, but I'm going to tell you what that means. So let's say you have this IC7000, which I have, and it's rated at 100 watts, okay? And we go out with our watt meter, and we measure that it's actually putting out 200 watts, right? How many dB gain is that, okay? Well, we know that the answer should be 3 dB from the note that I gave you, right? The study notes. A 3 dB change is double, right? So we put in, oh my goodness gracious, this bites. All right. Well, that's cool. I don't know what I'm doing here. So let me switch back to my pen. So this should be, so this is what the radio is rated at, okay? Where did I get this 100 from? From the radio's manual, okay? My manual says that this machine puts out 100 watts at peak power, okay? But I go out with my watt meter, which is a little thing, a little box with an antenna on it, and I walk around the antenna, and it says I'm putting out 200 watts. So this was the measured power, right? So that's what I measured. This is what the manual told me. How many dB gain that is. Okay, here we go. Nobody make fun of my desk, okay? It is a total mess. So I need to do this to point it to, let me go back and switch to my, oh boy. Let me switch back to my pointer, okay? So the way I computed that, and I'm going to do my best here, is I took out my handy-dandy calculator, the one I told you to buy. You spent 10 bucks on it. The greatest investment you ever made. Okay, I'm going to turn it on, right? And I'm going to clear it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top number, which was 200, right? And I'm going to divide it by the bottom number, which was 100. 100. And I'm going to hit the equal sign right there, right? I'm then going, it gave me the number 2. I'm then going to hit this button here, which is the log button. It does logarithms for me. And logarithms are just mathematical shorthands. so we don't have to keep adding and subtracting zeros. So we're going to hit log, whoop, and that gives me 0.30, et cetera. But I told you the formula was 10 times that. So we're going to have to multiply, which is what I hit, times 10 equals, and then the answer is 3.0.3 is close enough. Okay? I'm going to do that again so nobody gets nervous here. All right? We're going to clear this. All right. So we're going to try a different problem here, if I can get the right tool. Here we go. I'm going to try that one. All right. And we're going to say, oh, we're going to pick on somebody here. Andy, how are you?
All right, Joe, what's going on?
All right. So my radio puts out 100 watts. So this comes from the radio manual, right?
Right.
All right, radio manual. So I know this is the reference power. Power. And Andy, how much power did we measure at the antenna? Make up anything.
250.
250. So we want to know, okay, what the dB is. So the dB is 10 times, so 10 times the log 10, which is a natural log of the reference power, okay, over the measured power. And Andy said that we measured 250 watts. Okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. Tell you what we're going to do. And I'll try to keep that someplace where I can. This is awful. All right. So I'm going to try to keep
25, Joe.
Excuse me?
It's 25.
It's at 25?
Yeah, working with your equation.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see how it works out. Okay. So the first number I'm going to put in is 250. 250. And then I'm going to hit the divide button. Okay. Then I'm going to put the bottom number, which was 100. Yep. 100. I'm going to hit the equal number. That's 25. Now you have to hit this log button up here. See the log button? Hit the log button, and it gives you 0.3979. But I told you it's 10 times that, so you have to multiply by 10. And then you hit the equal sign. So that's a 3.9 dB gain, which makes sense. Double the power was about 3 dB, so we more than doubled the power. It's 3.9 dB. Okay. Does everybody understand how I computed that? Yes? No? No problem?
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. And the reason, this is not on the test, but the reason is some ham operators, and it really upsets me, these guys that have been on the air for like 40 gazillion years, they say, well, what kind of license do you have? And you say technician, and they immediately say, well, you don't know anything. And then your response is, yeah, but can you compute dBs? And they'll look at you and they'll go, huh? Okay? So this is just to move you up a little bit so you get a little bit more respect. Okay? So you should all know how to do that. Yes?
Do a problem where the output is less than the book value.
No problem. There's no problem at all. So let's try one. I'm glad you asked that question. I was waiting for somebody to ask that question. So let's do that one. Okay?
All right. Normal experience.
Hold on. First thing is we know our hold on. Whoever came up with this interface is going to get a strongly worded letter from me. Okay? All right. So we know that the formula is 10 times the log 10. Everybody knows what a log is. It's short for logarithm, and it's how mathematicians deal with large numbers. And this is not an advanced math course, so all I need you to know is where the log button is. It's just mathematical shorthand. 10 times the log 10 of the reference power over the measured power. Okay, so the gentleman who asked the question, okay, you're going to give me the numbers, and we're going to figure this out. All right?
50
So,
over 100.
all right, so what is the reference power?
100.
100. We read that in the manual, and we said, manual says, Okay? Okay. And the top number is?
50. 50.
50. You got it. Okay, here we go. Don't be afraid. Okay? Here we go. Let's try this out. Hold on. I got to switch my little button thing here. Otherwise I can't drag this up. Okay. So here we go. Okay? So we're going to clear our calculator. Okay? The top number always comes first. 50 divided by 100 equals, okay, 0.5. We take the log. We hit the log button. Okay? See, it says minus 0.3. We multiply this by 10. Okay? And you notice the minus sign. So that is dB down 3 dB, which is half the power. How do I know?
Yes.
Right, that makes sense. So a 3 dB change here, right, is double. So a minus 3 dB is half. Okay?
Yes.
The ones, so is that clear? Did we figure that out well? Yes? Everybody got it? So
Yes.
The ones you're responsible are these. I want you to know these by heart. I don't want you struggling with your calculator for this question. It's 3, 6, and 10. All right? Double, quadruple, 10. Yes.
The practice test I took on the internet today had a question about this.
You will absolutely get a question on it. Guaranteed. All 5 exams, there are 5 variations of the exam. All 5 of them have this question. I promise you, you will have it. I want you to just not even think about it and know the answer. What I just showed you with the calculator is so you can impress those guys that have general and extra licenses and tell them where to go in a very polite way, as we always do in this class. Okay? So, in all seriousness, I know extras who don't know how to compute dB. Now, this dB, remember, is a ratio. It's the measured power over the reference power. This is used all the time in audio, okay? So, for example, you have a microphone, and it says you want a 3 dB gain or a 6 dB and down 6 dB loss, and it's because the reason you use it there is because my voice is at a certain volume, whatever volume that is, okay? It doesn't matter. If I were to have a 3 dB gain, my voice would sound like this. It was twice as loud. If I had a 3 dB down, my voice would sound like this. So in audio software, for example, recording software or video or any of that stuff where we have audio to contend with, we start off with the volume of the person's voice, and how we change it is dB. dB up, dB down. Okay? Does that make sense? So dB is a measure of a power ratio. It is not a measure of power. Okay? Yes? We good? All
Good.
Right. All right. Awesome job. Awesome job. So I'm going to leave this here in a corner, and I'm going to leave it in the corner, and then I'm going to switch. Hold on. I have to do this whole thing, get rid of all of this stuff, and then go back to my normal mode, and then we're going to go back to the manual. All right. We've had enough fun. Okay? We're going to go back to the manual. So anyway, we did all of this stuff, right? Attend to fundamentals. Okay. Another interesting question that I got was somebody wanted to build a bazooka antenna. And a bazooka antenna is just a big, gigantic piece of PVC pipe, okay? And what you do is they don't have the room to run a dipole, and then they just wrap each side of the antenna on the PVC pipe. You know, we're talking about a 4 or 5 or 6 inch pipe around, pretty big one. And the question was, is the number of winds on each side important? No, not at all. But since both sides are equal in length, they should be approximately the same number of winds. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? Or did I lose everybody here? Yep. Let me draw it out just in case. I'm trying to make things better, not worse. So a bazooka antenna dipole, which is very popular for people in apartments, looks like this. Just a hunk of pipe, okay? And then what you do is you take your wire and you start wrapping it. One side here, up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And then the other side, so this is your radio, right? Your radio is here. And you're hooking up your feed line here. The feed line has two sides, right? It splits. And then on this side, you wrap it up and down and up and down. So the question was, is the number of wrappings on this side important to match this side? No, but since the length is what's important, and since the length has to be the same size for a dipole, you should end up with approximately the same number of wraps. If you're short one or two, not a big deal. Okay? So that's...
Joe, question?
Yes, sir.
This would be perfect because I'm in an apartment. Well, my question is, last time you were mentioning with the dipole that you created, designed for your house, that had to be 120 degrees of separation or angulation.
Yeah, and this meets that criteria because this side, okay, is 180 degrees opposite this side. Think about it.
Oh,
They're
capiche, capiche. Okay.
Right. In my house, right, so this is the back of this is my house, right, and I've got my antenna, my radios in this back room. I have it hooked up to a pole here for my fence, and over here, I have it hooked up here. Well, it's not really a dipole. It would be more perfect if they went out straight out, but I don't have that option, right? So what I did was this, and this angle must be greater than 120 degrees. If it is not, the antenna will lose efficiency big time.
Right, now, looking at the example above, the bazooka, right above your radio where your two wires lead out, that doesn't look like 120 to me. That's why I asked the question.
It probably, so you know what? So instead of the feed line being here, make the, hold on, let's see if I can do this. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Basically, you're just saying separated at 120 degrees with an angle of
bring
some
this
sort?
feed line up a little bit. Bring this up to here. I mean, I do this for just an example, and then do it this way and connect it this way. Now your degrees are greater than 180 degrees. So
this
if
will
I'm
work
going to
on
draw
a 6-inch pipe?
Excuse me?
This will work with a 6-inch pipe in length?
It'll work like a charm. You won't believe how well it'll work. So we have it here,
great.
and we have it here, and then your feed line, put it right here. Right. So now that angle of that feed line, if we looked at it carefully, and this goes up to your bazooka, right? And this is 180 degrees. So the wire comes up.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So
Actually, this
Joe,
is my very first antenna that I made, and it worked awesome. Awesome. Yes.
Question? Yeah. So if there must be some, it must not work as good as just the straight dipole otherwise, since you couldn't go 180 degrees. So how does it compare? Is there some way to...
Yeah, you get about a 3 dB loss. You get about so it's about half, right? So 3 dB down. Yeah. So the answer is, it doesn't work as well. No, it doesn't. So let's say this was a 40-meter antenna, okay? No. If I had a straight piece of wire, like down here, and then hanging out of my out of my backyard, and I had a full. So the person who asked the question, a 40-meter antenna, how long does it have to be? Quick, tell me. You have 2 seconds. 1, 2.
120.
Yeah. So each one of these would have to be 60 feet. Well, I live on Long Island, folks. Okay. Real estate is like big bucks here. Okay. It's like second only to Beverly Hills. I don't have that kind of distance in my backyard. I really don't. And even if I did, my wife would yell obscenities to me until I took it down. So this is the next best thing. So this bazooka guy is the next best thing. Is it as efficient? No, it is not, but it's not bad. In a pinch, it works great. Okay.
Joe, this is Vijay. I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, what was your question, sir?
The thing is, like, for example, how do you get the measured power? Like, do you use multimeter to measure it? Like,
no.
How do you do
power,
that?
Yeah, power at the antenna is measured with a watt meter, and I think we're going to show you one in just a few seconds. Okay, and it's just a device, and it looks like this, and it has all these numbers on it, wattage, and there's a little needle thing, and there's an antenna, and you walk around your antenna at 3 feet. Okay, 3 feet. Actually, we'll leave it at 3.28 feet. Okay, but 3 feet, about 3 feet, you walk around the antenna, and somebody hits transmit, and of course you don't touch the antenna when somebody hits the transmit, right? And then this will read whatever it reads, and it'll tell you how much power is coming out. I'll show you one in just a couple of seconds, okay? That's the most effective one.
Yeah, that's the transmitting. How do you measure for receiving end?
On receiving, you'll see that on the S meter, okay? So I'll show you what that looks like. This is just awful. Oh my. So let me activate my radio. No problem. No problem. No problem. We'll wait for this to boot up. So right here, see this little S number here on my radio? Okay. So this, see the S3, and it's becoming S2. That is a measure of power called S units. Okay. How well I'm receiving or not receiving. So that's receiving. Okay. So that's what that sounds like. This is at S2, S3. Okay. So that's how you would measure receiving. All radios have S meters in them, just about. Even the new Baofengs have S meters, so you can see relative signal strength. Right now, nothing's happening.
But can we just take a multimeter and the receiving end? Can we measure some kind of signal movement that indicates whether the receiving?
Yes, you can. There is a device you can hook up in line, which will give you a more accurate reading than this. Okay, but it isn't very necessary because you can hear it with your ear. After a little bit of time, you'll be able to tell who's at S3 and who's at S9. So let me try. Let's do this. All right, you see this one? Now that's on a, Armando, what band am I on right now?
Right now,
Yeah. I forget.
What, 70 centimeters?
Yeah, perfect. So this is somebody talking, and you can see he's at S9. Nice clear signal.
Okay. And we take a multimeter, connect across a coaxial cable with the incoming signal, and it shows the measuring on the multimeter.
We wouldn't use a multimeter necessarily because it wouldn't give us a true reading. We can use other things, and I'll show them to you in just a second. Okay.
That guy, the guy who's S9, is he QRP?
I don't know because he's going to a repeater.
Oh, gotcha.
He's going through a repeater. So even if you're a QRP station, which I am, that's all I have, I can hit the repeater, and if I were talking to you, let's say in New Jersey, which is about 75 miles from me, okay, I could be coming in, I have come in at half a watt, and I can pin your, in New Jersey, I can pin you with an S9. Why? Because all I have to do is make it to the repeater, which I can do, then the repeater sends it out to you at S9, and it's much more powerful. You know, it's 1,500 watts or whatever it is. So, you know, as long as you make the repeater, that's all you care about. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can't battle through this last of Chapter 4. The reason is I want to get through this stuff. I certainly want you to understand all this stuff, but I'm anxious to start the exams next week, so that's why we're going to finish these up. Okay. And we're going to do this. Okay, so here, this device on this page shows you this SWR or watt meter. The watt meter will tell you how much power you're putting out. The incoming signal, not so important. If you can't hear them, you can't hear them. It doesn't matter what measure they're at. And after a little bit, you'll be able to tell by your ear. Nobody really cares so much. Okay, you either hear them or you don't. Output power is important because you want to know what. Yes.
Go ahead, sorry. And the reason why I asked, like, we are back in school, we are conducting some experiments, and we developed like dish, a parabola antenna, and we don't have a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
And all we have a multimeter, and we are so struggling because we don't know whether we can put an amplifier to amplify the signal output. We just that's the reason why I asked it, like,
right.
back in school.
I'd have to answer that question for you offline, because the answer to that will probably confuse most people in this class. So the answer is, I understand what you're asking, but let's take it offline. I'll answer your question offline. I don't want to ruin everybody's day here. Okay? No problem. No problem. Certain things, I'm trying to simplify things as much as I can. And some things, as I told you the very first day that we started with this class, things I were going to tell you were not 100% accurate, but I certainly want you to get your license here. They're a little bit more complicated, so some questions I just ask that you please discuss with me offline. I don't want to confuse the class, okay? All right, so antenna tuners. So antenna tuners look like this bad boy, okay? I think I showed it to you already. Okay, let me raise this up so you can see this a little bit better. All right, so this guy down here, this thing that says the IT1000, that's my antenna tuner. So if I tune to another band, right, and I need to match, my antenna is a fixed length, right? It is 80 meters fixed length. But I'm not on. Oh, I'm sorry. Too many screens. Okay, so my antenna is not is set for 80 meters, and I'm not on 80 meters at the moment. Okay, so what I need to do is I press this button, okay, and you'll see it says tuning, okay, and what it's doing is electronically changing the length of my antenna. Let me try another band where I'm not. Let's see. And I'm tuned on every band. All right. Let's try this one. Okay, 20 meters, 40 meters. I press this button. You can hear it. And then you'll see this light go on. When that light goes on, and up here on the radio, you see it says tuned. Okay? When that light goes on, what it did using capacitors and inductors, right, it electronically changed the length of the antenna so that I'm able to talk and transmit correctly on this. And Bill, we know that capacitors store energy. How, Bill?
Electrostatically.
Okay. And Andy, how do inductors store energy? Hi, Andy. You there? No? I know these guys know. Jacob Green. How are you, Jacob?
I'm doing all right, sir. How about yourself?
Excellent, thank you. So, inductors store energy how?
I have actually not been able to be in the class, nor have I had the opportunity to read my chapters, so okay. I need to go and do that. I've actually been sick.
But Jackson knows. Jackson, I think, is offline. Jackson, you with us? No, if not, we'll switch to Jessica. Jessica knows this upside down and backwards. Actually, I don't want Jessica. Is Tiffany with you tonight, Jessica? Yeah. No, Jessica's not there either. How about John Ruckman? John. Everybody's asleep.
Magnetically.
Magnetically. Thank you for that answer. So the gentleman that I asked, I suggest you review Chapter 3. Again, I'm always open for questions and answers, and I try to get here a few minutes early, so if you have any questions on it, let me know. But anyway, so that's what this tuner does, okay? So it tunes, and then this thing lights up, but it didn't light up. It tuned to this frequency. If I change my VFO, Jonathan, how are you? Jonathan, you there? Guess not. How about Judy? Hey, Judy, how are you? Judy's there. I can see her.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, Judy, so this knob that I'm turning here, what's it called?
It's a VFO.
And what does VFO stand for, Judy?
Variable. It's a variable frequency oscillator, and it's a tuning knob.
You are my hero. Excellent job. Excellent job. Anyway, you did great. So that's that guy. So on antennas, the other thing they want you to know is, so they talk about, here's where I'm going with this, folks. This guy here, this antenna analyzer, okay? Now this is theirs. I'll show you mine, okay? So here's my antenna tuner, okay? It says antenna analyzer right there. We hook up the antenna to this guy here. You notice that an antenna tuner only has one input. This is for power, for, using external power. The input. So you hook up your antenna here, you turn this bad boy on, and it gives you this graph, and it tells you where the antenna is resonant. Everything is working correctly, and it tells you what frequency and all that kind of stuff. It measures SWR, okay, impedance, and does all of that stuff, okay? This is what an antenna looks like. And if you build a lot of antennas, this is important to experiment with. If you don't build a lot of antennas, buy yourself an antenna tuner. They're about $100 or less, okay? And they save you a ton of time. You only have to build one antenna. If you're going to build that bazooka antenna I told you, you can get a little one of these. It's battery operated. You put in 4 AA batteries. They'll last about 27 years in there, and you're good to go. And you'll get awesome performance out of it. I strongly recommend tuners when you go to HF. You don't need tuners for 2 meter 70 centimeter. It's not that critical. Okay?
Joe?
Yes, sir.
It's the Flying Chef. I had this quick conversation. I have so many antennas on my vehicle that I'm having issues with things bouncing back and forth. I've lost signals back and forth. Am I able to actually tune each antenna, or is it just through the ham radio I can tune?
The question is, what other frequencies are you listening to? Do you have
I have UHF, VHF, DVD. I've got satellite. I've got next red radar that comes through my satellite, and then I've got cellular, a tower, a power booster for my cell phones, and then I also have my 2 CBs.
That's an RF nightmare.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm having a lot of issues. I sent you a photo of my rig. Is there something that, I don't mean to jump off course, but does this tuner actually be able to tune each one of those into it or not?
No. You would need a more sophisticated radio with other filters, such as a notch filter. There's a bunch of different filters you can get. On 2 meter and 70 centimeter, it's going to be problematic. I'm turning on my radio again so you can see the different filters that are available. But you would need a bunch of different filters. Like if you look down here, I'm at the bottom of the screen. I hope everybody can see that. See where it says notch filter? And depending on the frequency you're on, you're going to have to actually manually tune this. So there's notch filter 1, notch filter 2. There's roofing filters. I don't know what to tell you. I'd have to be in your car and kind of study it for a while. It's a problem. It's going to be a problem.
I figured. I just flew over your house on Saturday.
Yeah, no problem. No worries. I'm up for that. I'm up for a challenge when it comes to antennas. Anyway, so we finished Chapter 4. No big surprises there. Now they talk about transmitters and receivers. Everybody knows what they look like, right? So here's my transmitter receiver all in one. Now you see it. Now you don't. All right. And they talk about this stuff. They talk about modes, right? So let me move some of these radios. Ugh. All right. So on my radio, the band selector is here. And if I press this button, I'm going to try to get it all in the screen here. I doubt that I can do that. But if I hit the band, just notice the numbers on the screen, right? What frequency I'm on. I'll go up. It went up to 18. Hit it again. It goes up to 21, 24. So I'm going through the bands, okay? 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and so forth and so on. And then we're in the gigahertz bands and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so they want you to know where the band thing is. The other thing that we're going to talk about in 2 minutes, okay, is this little sucker right here, okay, this guy here, RIT, okay? They love to talk about RIT. RIT stands for Receiver Incremental Tuning, okay? And that's what it looks like on my radio. You have to push this in, and it switches to RIT. One of the options is RIT, and then it gives you this whole fancy doodad thing, and then this turns into a fancy incremental tuning thing. All it really means, I'll show it to you on the big screen here. Shouldn't have closed out my radio thing here. So it's RIT, R-I-T, Receiver Incremental Tuning. It's just a fine-tuning knob. That's all it is. So this is coarse. You notice that the numbers, the 7 stays the same, then it's period something. I can go through them quickly. And then if I pick a frequency like 7.125, and that's not quite the same frequency, I would adjust the RIT, and that adjusts the numbers to the right of the decimal point. It's just fine-tuning. That's all RIT means. The FCC, not the FCC, but the ARRL makes this whole big production thing about RIT, Receiver Incremental Tuning. It's a fine-tuning knob. Okay, no biggie. You'll see that they discuss it here. All right, cool. So this is just a rehash of stuff we already know, okay? What the wavelength is, depending on the band. You didn't forget about that formula. Lambda equals 300 over the frequency in megahertz. We talked about that. Then they talk about different bands, different modes rather. AM or single sideband, there's upper and lower, FM, CW, data, RIDI, PSK31. These are all things to, you know, different modes you can use. And all the radios have mode buttons. So on this guy here, okay, actually I can show it to you, and the button is here, okay. Oh, let's see. So if I hit this mode button, okay, you're going to see here it'll change. That's at CW. I'll hit the mode button again. That's RIDI. That's FM. That's lower sideband. CW. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So that's what mode means. You're switching from one mode to the other. What happens if you don't switch? It doesn't sound right, or it doesn't sound at all. You can't hear it at all. Okay. And I'll give you a demonstration of that right this very second. Okay. I should leave this open. I don't know why I keep closing this. So we're going to go to this band. We're going to go to 40 meters, which is what I'm on right now. And these are all filters that I can put in, okay? And we'll see if we can. Of course, nothing's going to be on because the weather's so crummy. And what's happening here? Oh, I see. You're not going to hear anything tonight, I'm sure. My antenna may be down for all I know. Let's try 20 meters. I have a question in the meantime. Nathan, are you with us, Nathan? Hi, Nathan.
I am, Joe.
All right, Nathan, I have a question for you. Well, I try to search for a signal. So my question is, what band is phone absolutely prohibited always, no matter what? What band?
Is it 33?
Just 30.
30.
It says this guy here. Only digital modes are allowed. So CW meets that requirement, okay? But my antenna must be down. I don't hear anything. So 30 meters, no phone, no voice at all. Big no-no, okay? So thank you for that answer. That was correct. All right, cool. All right, that's the end of playing with the radio for today. All right. Let's see. So they talk about these digital modes, control and function keys, transmitter function. We talked about this RIT stuff, so you know how that works. no problem. And they talk about peak envelope power, okay? So they talk about, I love this, when you buy a stereo, they give you the rating in peak envelope power, PEP, or peak power, okay? This means nothing to me. So peak power means nada to me. Peak power is on the perfect day, in the perfect place, in the springtime when the butterflies are flying. It's downhill with the wind, okay? That's what peak envelope power means. It means at one time in a lab someplace, this machine hit that power level.
Sounds like fuel economy.
Yeah, exactly. Fuel economy. That's exactly perfect analogy. It means nothing. Much more important is RMS. Root means squared powered. If you want to figure out how to compute that, how to compute peak envelope power and turn it into RMS, then take my general class, because that's what we discussed there. Okay. So anyway, but they always love to rate things in peak envelope power. Excellent analogy, exactly like fuel economy. Okay. All right, so this is what an average receiver looks like, mobile. These little thingies here, these little holes are heat sinks. These do develop a lot of heat, okay? Radios are not designed, amateur radios are not designed for continuous use, okay? They're designed for a specific duty cycle. If you exceed them, and that duty cycle is in your manual, if you exceed that, the radio starts to do funny things because it can't get rid of the heat. On my radio, the ICOM 7000, it has a little fan inside that goes off, okay? And when that fan starts to get a little older or dusty, you can hear when it starts to go off, okay? For those who own Baofeng radios, when you get your license, go to a clear frequency and hold down the transmit button for longer than 60 seconds. You will see that your display will disappear, okay, over time. Again, you only paid anywhere between 30 and 60 bucks for the radio, folks. Give me a break, okay? Baofengs have a problem with getting rid of heat. All HTs do. Baofengs, because they're so inexpensively made, if you hold down the transmit button for a minute or two, the LED disappears, okay? Just the way it is. Microphone, I don't need to explain microphones, right? This is what it looks like. And this is a person with a different type of microphone, which is a headset. Okay? That's what you need to know there. Overmodulation. Does anybody need a demonstration of overmodulation? Okay? My sister-in-law always overmodulates. Okay? She talks so loud you have no idea what she's saying. So here it is. Here's a demonstration of overmodulation. So what that means is you spoke too loudly into the microphone or too close to the microphone, and the problem is you start to get excited, right? So you're in your car, and all of a sudden on 2 meters you're picking up China. You're talking to some person in China. How exciting is that, right? So you figure China, right? So it's 10,000 miles away. So you need to talk louder. Well, that's not the way it really works. You tend to overmodulate. I've done it. Everybody does it, right? So just relax, okay? One of the things you can do in a bigger unit is you can set this ALC, automatic level control. It limits. A better way to do it is just hold the microphone about 2 or 3 inches away from you. Hold the microphone flat, right, so that it is perpendicular to your mouth, and talk across the microphone, okay? So your breath of air, your puff of air is actually going across the microphone. That's going to go a long way to improve it. So just let's see, can I get my oh, hold on, I'll find it. I wanted to demonstrate this, and of course I lost my little webcam thing. Hold on. All right, cool. So here is a microphone, and what I mean by all of that is if you're having trouble and your microphone's this way, just turn it this way, and then talk as if you were talking in here. And that will reduce overmodulation quite a bit. Some people put it right up to their mouths and they talk like this, and you have no idea of what they're saying. Okay? So just a real simple, easy way to avoid overmodulation on HTs. Okay? All right, cool. If we have questions, stop me, okay? If you overmodulate, you can get some feedback. It sounds just like microphone feedback. Everybody knows what that sounds like, right? And if you're on CW and you're clicking away really, really fast, you'll hear the click marks. Celie, would you do me a favor, please? Celie, can you hand me that key on the left-hand side? Take that out, right? Get rid of that, and give me the next key. Take the cover off first. We don't show people how dusty it is. Okay. No, I will not show them that. Up. Is it stuck in? All right, good job. So I'll show you. This is one of our CW keys. If I can find what I did with my. What did I do with my guy again? Here it is. I lost him. Hold on. I found him. Hold on. All right. So this is one of our CW keys. It was my key. I don't know what it is now. Hold on. And there's different types of keys. There's straight keys. There's iambic keys. This happens to be an iambic key. Sorry about the, sorry that out of focus here. And if you start going real fast, you'll hear these clicks. You'll actually hear the click. And that's what they refer to. This is a dot, this is a dash, or this can be a dot, and this can be a dash, and it's a faster way of sending Morse code. This is known as an iambic key. Okay? All right, cool. So that's what they mean when they talk about key clicks in the manual. I try to make it so you guys can relate to what's actually happening here. Okay. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Hand mics, we know this is a straight key. This is what a straight key looks like. This is the key you just looked at. This is an iambic paddle. We call them keys. We call them paddles, that kind of stuff. Vox, voice, operated transmission. Perfect if you happen to be a motorcyclist and you want to use your radio. Okay? And you use Vox every day on your cell phone. Okay? That's the way it works. Okay? Actually, your cell phone works a little bit differently, but the principle is the same. It's automatic voice-operated transmission. You start talking, it starts transmitting. Okay? Everybody knows how the regular microphone works. You press the button, and off you go. Okay? Receiver functions, they talk about this clarifier and the RIT. All right? I told you. Clarifier, RIT. Same thing. Okay? Fine-tuning knob. That's it. That's all you need to know. And gain control is so that if you're trying to reach somebody and you want your voice amplified, I'm going to go back to my radio here. They have a speech processor, or they'll have mic gain. I'll show you where that's located here. Okay, so the gain on my radio would be here, lower. I'm down here, and if I increase this, okay, you could see the gain. And then this is receiver gain, transmitter gain, mic gain is here. You can actually increase it. You got to be careful with it because it becomes distorted after a while. So you want to be careful with that stuff. Let me see if there's anybody on. Actually, I'm concerned that I'm not getting anybody. Yeah, something's wrong with my antenna. I'm going to have to address that issue. Okay. Anyway. So they talk about automatic gain control. Again, they don't want your signal to come out distorted. And they use AGC, automatic gain control. That's what it is. Okay? Pretty simple. Okay? Squelch, does everybody know what squelch is? Or do I need to give you a demonstration on squelch? I'll give you a demonstration anyway. Okay? Just in case. So I'm going to point you to, this is my, here's my squelch control on my radio. Hold on, let's get this up here. That's my squelch control right here. All right, and I'm going to tune in, let's see, Ken. Ken, how are you? Ken, you there? He's
there.
there.
Here I am.
All right.
Unmuted.
So Ken, what band am I on now?
2 meter.
Okay, one more. I have to ask you another question. Hold on. Hold on. What am I on now?
70 centimeters.
Yeah, good man, good man, good man. So squelch. So this is my squelch because it says so. SQL is short for squelch. So I'm going to turn up the volume. You hear all that noise? Well, that'll give me a headache right away. So what I do is I tune my squelch till I just stop hearing the noise. Okay? So off, on, off, on. What squelch does, it just closes out the background noise, so I don't have to deal with that. Okay? That's all squelch means. I think you guys already knew that. I'm going to leave this open because I'm opening every 2 minutes. Okay. To keep from having to listen to continuous noise when you use the squelch. Okay, we got it. I think we're all good with that. All right, cool. DSP. Okay, the greatest invention known to man. Okay, there's two great inventions in man's history. The tangerine is #1. The second is digital signal processing. Okay, so what this does is it eliminates, if this was working, and I don't know why it's not working. Hold on, let's see why it's not working here.
You need to clear the snow from your back fence.
Excuse me?
You need to clear the snow from your back fence.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
Hey, Joe, it's become kind of like sleet out, so, I mean, that may be affecting.
That makes me feel much better.
Well, we're only a couple of miles from each other.
Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, this is just disgusting. It's just disgusting.
I'm 1 inch away from being the most snowy season ever, 107 inches.
Oh, you must be in Boston.
That's correct.
Oh, man. We feel for you. We really feel for you. It's
a lot of free snow up here.
Joe, speak for yourself.
Yeah. It's terrible here. I mean, it just doesn't stop snowing. It's just impossible. Anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking, DSP. So I'm sorry that I can't get a signal in. I'm going to try to demonstrate as best I can.
What? You're home at 9:30 time? You're home like 9:30, 10 o'clock?
All right, so you hear, this is kind of a signal. Okay, you hear all that stuff? Now, this is my DSP. They call it noise reduction. So this is with it off. This is with it on. So what this does, I'm trying to find. That's RIDI you're just listening to right now. That's RIDI. I almost had somebody. Anyway, the point is, if I turn this off, can you hear the difference? The noise level is much, much higher. So what digital signal processing does is it converts the signal up to a higher level. It then cleans it up and sends it back down. Okay, it is incredible. And not all radios have DSP. So your Baofungs do not have DSP, digital signal processing, and even some of the HF radios, such as the Yaesu 817ND, which is the little backpack QRP radio, doesn't have DSP, but that's okay. I wouldn't trade my Yaesu for anything. It's amazing radio. It's a magic radio. Okay. Handheld transceivers, you know all about these because you probably all have Baofungs, okay? Make sure that it is set for wide mode on your Baofeng. If you don't know how to do that, let me know, shoot me an email, and I'll go over Baofengs with you at the end of the class, and I'll show you how to make sure you're set for wide mode. Baofengs have two, narrow and wide modes, okay? Digital communications, we talked about it. I'll show you how I connect my radio, because they give it to you in a diagram, but of course nothing is as much fun as seeing.
No, come on.
Oops, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. So what I'm going to try to do here is, this is the interface that I have for my radio, okay? And that's hooked up to my computer, all right? And that's how I'm able to receive digital modes. It goes into my sound card on my computer, and it's powered by a USB port on my computer, okay? And if I could show you back in there, anyway, trust me, that's how they work, okay? So they'll show you this diagram here, and they talk about the different radio modes. RTTY, we know what that rhymes with, right? And it's because it uses this 5-bit Bordeaux code. It always gets through, always gets through. It's very, very robust in that area, no error correction. WinLink is only for email. You can only send email using WinLink, okay? The most popular is PSK31, or it's also known as MFSK, which is a form of PSK, okay? And that has error correction. So if you're sending a form or you're sending an Excel spreadsheet, we do that all the time in RACES, in ARIES rather. We send forms via radio, and it works fine, okay? All right, cool. Packet networks. Packet is exactly as it implies. It's little packets of data, and they use a thing called frequency shift keying. The tone varies in little bursts. Okay, I'm going to try to have a demonstration of FSK, what it sounds like. It sends little packets of information, so and so. Okay. I got a question here. Joe, you keep changing bands. Don't you have to use the antenna adjuster each time you change? Yes, if I was going to transmit. Okay. If I was going to just receive, it doesn't matter. Only when I transmit. Okay. Do I have to keep changing? Andy, your mic isn't working. Jonathan couldn't undo his microphone. Andy, can I hear me? Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. And I think you may be having, Jessica answered me. I think you may be having issues because we tried to answer. Others might be as well. Okay. I'll try to keep an eye on this text messaging. Sometimes I forget to do that. Sorry. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Each packet consists of a header and data when you use packet radio, okay? And it looks like this in here and in your manual. Keyboard to keyboard, which is what we just did. And in the old days, RTTY was the only one you could send keyboard to keyboard. Now that doesn't exist anymore because of the new software. You can CW, you can RTTY, you can do all it, RTTY, PSK31. You can all do it keyboard to keyboard. Okay? All right, cool. APRS. Okay, the worst invention ever made on the face of the earth. And I knew you were going to ask me about it, so I think I loaded one for you. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Did I? No, I think I didn't. So anyway, you can do ham radio, APRS. We're going to Google it, okay? And then you can go here. I think this one will work. And you can go down there. And you can look at a map, and you can see where everybody is. And it tells you their call sign and all of that junk. They use it in mobile devices all over the place. Time for a demo here. So here's my radio with APRS, the worst invention ever made. Okay? You cannot lie to your significant other. So here's my Yaesu, and I just put this on just to show you guys. So this has APRS built in. It is the only radio that has APRS that I own. This is the GPS antenna. It just kind of bolts on. And what happens is if you turn it on, okay, after a few minutes, it will tell you, it knows what your location is, and then every few minutes, it transmits up to the APRS national band, 144.390. So I could track you. I could track you. I know exactly where you are, how fast you're going. If you're talking to somebody, who you're talking to, all sorts of hoopla that is totally unnecessary. And then my wife knows when I'm not, I'm really at the electronics store instead of being at Home Depot buying paint. Okay? So I do not recommend it. So this is what it would look like. I mean, you can look at it yourself. Let's see if there's another APRS map. Let's see. Try this one. Wait a second. Run. Yeah, run it. Blah, blah, blah. No, I don't have my Java up to date. Okay. But anyway, this map would generate, and you can go down to the street level, and then who's hanging out where. And this is what it looks like. All right? So if you want more information on automatic positioning reporting system, feel free to use that. The last time that this antenna was on this radio was now, the time before that was about 5.5 years ago when my wife bought it for me, and she figured out that I was, in fact, not buying paint at Home Depot, so I don't use it anymore. Okay? Okay. WinLink is another protocol you can use. We're going through different types of digital modes, and it's used for emergency situations, and it only works over email. Okay? So WinLink system sends email over, and it tries to reach an email server, and then it sends your email. Okay? Yeah, kind of. And this is the diagram on kind of how it works. Not so widely used anymore. Okay? Just this was used years ago. But I want you to know all about these digital modes. All right, so that fancy doodad you saw me connect was this guy here. So it comes from my radio. Now mine is built in. This is an old diagram connected to my computer, and off you go. Okay, I don't use it much because I like handling things with just a radio. After Hurricane Sandy, it became very clear to me that if I have no computer, so what am I going to do with it? You know, so I rely on just the ham radio itself. So this is okay if you have power to power the computer. If you don't, you have a bigger problem. Okay. All right, cool. So they talk about these data interfaces, and these are gateways. There are radios that use this technology, which is a combination of digital and analog, and I'm going to show you one. Okay. This is, if I can get it out of the charger, hold on. Okay. This happens to be this manufacturer's attempt at what you're seeing in this diagram. And I'll show it to you in just 1 second. All right, there's no shortage of radios in this house. Okay. So that's this guy. And you see it says D-Star on it. Okay. And this is 70 centimeter only. Okay. But I can talk to anybody on the planet as long as they have another D-Star. Crystal clear. That's the advantage of it. Okay. So what happens here is, as per this diagram, it goes through this data interface. It transmits to a repeater. The repeater has to be a D-Star repeater. Okay. And it then uses the internet to send my signal to wherever I want it to go, Germany, Australia, wherever, doesn't matter. And then the repeater on the other side decodes it and then sends it out using radio signals. It is crystal clear. The problem is there's different manufacturers are using different types of digital modes. So this only works with an ICOM system. So my radio will only work with D-Star. It has failed to gain a lot of popularity. Okay, so this is made by ICOM. Okay, and it runs on D-Star. There's other protocols as well, and nobody can agree which one's the best. Of course, every manufacturer says theirs is the best. Okay, all right. I don't use this much at all. It just sits here and gathers dust. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? We good? Okay. Power. This is what power supplies look like. Let's show it to you again. Okay. Hold on. This is my power supply here on the bottom. Okay. And I'm sure that Karen, why do we use a separate power supply?
Because the power companies lie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Perfect answer. Thank you. And they will ask you that question on the exam. Okay. So they all come in this type of flavor. They're about $100 or $80 or that kind of stuff. We use separate power supplies always, except for handhelds. Okay. They stabilize the power and they make things run a little bit nicer. Then they talk about generators and inverters. Okay, they are different, okay, than your household power. So, and you plug in your radio to it, you might have a problem. Okay, and it has to do with electronic theory and phasing and all sorts of stuff. What I want you to do is that using an inverter, that's the thing that turns your 12-volt power supply in your car into 110, may not produce a good result. All right, so don't expect that. And the other thing I want you to know is generators. I'm trying to read the notes as we go by. The generators have the same issue. It's not continuous power. If you listen closely to a generator, you'll hear it go up and down. You know, it doesn't produce smooth power. And your radio equipment, that might be fine for a refrigerator, but for your radio equipment, you might run into a problem. So what I do is I always keep a small gel cell, small 12-volt battery charged. Okay, that's more than enough power for where I live to reach a repeater or to reach the next ham radio person, okay, which only lives a couple of blocks from me. And then we can relay the signals if I have an emergency. And Corey asked me, what do I think of SDRs? SDR stands for Software Defined Radio, okay? I love SDR. And SDR, I'm going to try to have a demonstration for you of SDR next time. And what it is you use your computer as the front end of the radio, and you can see the whole band at one time. You don't have to hunt for signals. Okay, it'll tell you who's transmitting and where. And it's amazing. So I love software-defined radio. It's very inexpensive to get into. There's kits that I give a class on building the kits. Tony Parks, P-A-R-K-S, if you look him up, he does SDR radios. They're about $60 or maybe up to $80 now, but you can get an HF, high-frequency radio, for about $80, software-defined radio. They work awesome. Yeah, question?
Is that what it uses, like sound cards in the computer to receive?
Yeah, exactly right. Yes, sir. That's exactly correct. Okay. Exactly. Okay. So you use the sound card and amplifier inside your computer, and also you tune it with your computer. Okay, similar in concept to what we're using here. Let me just turn this on real quick, and I'll give you it's not really a demonstration of software-defined radio, but it'll be close enough. Okay, so here's my radio. Okay, so it would look like this. You tune the radio on your computer. There's no tuning knobs. Do I have one here? Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. I just happen to have an SDR radio handy. Okay. What do you think? You guys think I'm into this or what? All right, hold on. So this is a Tony Parks software-defined radio. So it's powered by USB. Okay, any USB, your computer. This is for your paddle, your CW key. Line out to your computer, line into your computer, and any 12-volt power supply. You hook up your antenna here. That's it.
Oh, you're not on screen.
Are we supposed to be seeing?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Tony Parks. Here we go. Take 2. Okay. So Tony Parks, USB, so you can control the radio, paddle, line in, line out to your sound card, 12-volt power supply. Your antenna gets connected here. Notice it says 50 ohms. Very important. You remember 50 ohms. No other controls. That's it. No controls. This one is, I built 1,000 of these. This one's for 30 meter, 20 meter, and 17 meters. Okay? It depends how many times. What the hell is this? Hey, Joyce, you with us? Joyce, you there? Yes, Joyce, I can. You lit up, so I think I can hear you. Can you hear me? Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Well, maybe you can type instead of, maybe I can't hear you, so. Joyce, this thing with all the wires around it, what the hell is that? She's not answering me. She's mad at me. Okay, so let's pick on Richard. Richard, you there?
Yeah, hi, Joe.
Yeah, so these things with all the wires around it, this guy right here, what the hell is that?
It's an inductor.
That's it. So these are inductors. So you can change the frequency that they're on when you build a kit by how much wire you want to wrap. That's what dictates what frequency it's on. So my wife hand wound these inductors. So these are called toroidal inductors. She hand wound them, and she got annoyed with me after a while. So we made it 30, 20, and 17 meters. If this was a 160 meter rig, whoa, she'd still be winding. Okay. So anyway, this is software-defined radio. No controls. Everything is controlled at the computer. Okay. Works great. Works awesome. Okay. All right.
Do you have that don't use the sound card?
Not software. Yeah. Well, yes and no. Okay. So this is my pride and joy right here. Hold on. I got to show this off. I got to show this off at least 10 times every class. Okay. So this is Nirvana for a ham radio operator. This is the ultimate radio. You know, if the Lord God were a ham radio guy, this is what he would probably have. Okay. This is the most beautiful machine ever built. This is really a software-defined radio with a computer interface built in. Okay, it's all in one. But technically, this is a software-defined radio. All right. So the answer is technically no. They don't all look like that. Sometimes they look like this. But again, we can connect this to the computer for next class, and you'll see software-defined radio. And just to give you a preview of what it looks like, and this is not software-defined radio. I'm cheating here. So I gave you that disclaimer, right? Okay. So again, this is kind of, so you'll get this waterfall here on the bottom, okay? And you'll be able to tell who's transmitting and who's not. This would be a transmission. This would be a transmission. So I don't have to go manually searching. I can scan the whole band at one time. It's just amazing. Okay. Such thank you. So this is the way this works. Okay. This is kind of a cheating view of software-defined radio. Okay. So let's go back to the manual here. Okay. So generators and inverters, be careful with them. They don't generate the same type of signals. Batteries, everybody knows what batteries look like, right? We have disposable batteries, carbon zinc, nickel cadmium. The question that you're going to be asked is, which of these batteries can I not charge? Well, you can't charge these, okay? No charging, okay? Same thing here. No charging, okay? If you try to charge an alkaline battery, something will catch fire. Okay? Judy just asked me a question. In your opinion, what would be the least expensive way to get on the air? The answer is buy a Baofeng radio, Amazon.com. Okay? I think they're at $35. Anybody buy one recently? I think they're about either $30 or $35.
I bought 2 of them for $69.
Okay, 2 of them for $69. And they're not bad radios. I own about 70 of them, okay? And they work fine, okay? 2 meter, 70 centimeter. But your privileges on HF frequencies are limited as technicians. So I wouldn't go, I'd play with that for a while. And you can still get pretty far on 2 meters and 70 centimeters and do that. When you're ready to go to HF, then I suggest you take the general class, and we go into various radio configurations in detail there. Okay? The other thing I want you to know, not on the technician's exam, it is on the general and the extra exam. There's one battery here that is not listed, which is your car battery. Okay? So your car battery is lead acid. Whether it's sealed or not sealed makes no difference. It's still lead acid. And the thing you want to be careful about, very, very careful about, is whenever you charge a lead acid battery, they emit hydrogen gas. So if you happen to be a smoker, don't smoke around the charging car battery because it will blow up. Okay? So they don't talk about it too much here. They should. And I've seen some of those fires. They'll get you crazy. So anyway, these are what batteries look like. I don't think I need to go over this. Everybody knows what they look like, right? Okay, cool. And then they go about the care and feeding. You can refrigerate batteries, never freeze them, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. These guys, they talk about this. Oh, what do you know? They do talk about lead-acid batteries can be recharged to a vehicle's battery. Care must be taken not to overcharge a small battery. Okay? And they do talk about it here, that they emit hydrogen gas. They also work on sulfuric acid. You don't want to get battery acid on you. So be careful with that. Okay? Handheld radios. Let's see. Armando says he recommends the Baofeng BF-F8 Plus. And I happen to have one of those as well. Okay? That's what one looks like. All right? Cool. This is the new 8-watt system. Much nicer radio for the money. Now, the regular Baofeng is about $30 or $35. This one, I believe, is $60. Okay? They've made vast improvements in it. It has greater sensitivity, so it receives a little bit better. And this is capable of 8 watts. Not really 8 watts, by the way, folks. 7 watts. Okay? Maybe. Downhill with the wind, pushing it. So this one's about 60. Nice little radio. I love it. Okay? They made a vast improvement to the antenna. The antenna is vastly improved over the Model 5 of the Baofeng. If you take this antenna off and put it on the 5, it performs much better too. Okay? All right, cool. No problem. Let's see. Batteries for handhelds. Be careful. Everybody knows what they look like. Be careful with them. They're made in China. They're all made in China. I don't care if you buy a Yaesu or a Baofeng. They're all made in China. Their quality control is not consistent. We want to be careful with that. Okay? RFI. Okay. So here's the deal, folks. I promised you I would never lie to you about anything. So I'm not going to lie about this either. There's a problem on 2 meter, 70 centimeter. And the problem is there's no control over buying a Baofeng. You don't need to prove that you're licensed to own a Baofeng. There are illegal operators all over the place. Okay? And that's what is known as RFI. Okay? That's a nice way of putting it. Okay? You got to be careful. Jammers, sometimes they're called jammers. People who are just totally spent. Okay? The FCC is tracking them down because of political issues and the terrorists and all of that stuff. So, but for right now, it could be a problem. So don't be a jammer. Don't operate illegally. I mean, you're going through the trouble of taking this class, and you're going to take this test. We have to deal with them to some extent. Every club, we are I think the second largest club in the United States, or at least the third largest club. Our repeater system is one of the largest on the planet Earth. We get hit with jammers all the time. And I have to deal with it as the president of the club. So there is technology. I can't go into it too much, but there is brand new technology to hunt those people down. What the FCC does with them, that's up to them. But the Department of Homeland Security gets involved in certain cases. Be careful with that. Okay? All right. So I'm just telling you, expect to see some jammer in your career. You will hear them. That's what RFI means. Okay? Filters. All sorts of different filters that we have. You're familiar with some of them. There are power line failures. There's RF chokes. So RF choke I'll have for you next time. You'll know in a second what it looks like. It's when you buy that phone, and they have these little clamp-on magnetic things or non-magnetic things you're supposed to put around the AC power cord, but you don't. You throw them away. Okay, those are ferrite chokes, and what their purpose is to reduce radio frequency current. Okay, to make the connection a little bit better. Okay, your new radio, if you buy a mobile or a base station, will come with an RF choke. You'll see it clearly identified. The manual will spend a page on it. You will not put it on, and you'll throw it away. Okay, or you'll put it in that drawer in the kitchen where everybody looks at it. Okay, and this is what they look like. Okay, and they work, but nobody ever does it anyway. Okay, and this is the ferrite choke that comes with your mobile phone, with your wireless phone in your house. Then they make these low-pass transmitting filters, and they make high-pass filters, so you don't interfere with somebody's television. Not used so much. Everybody uses cable now. If they don't use cable and use a high-definition antenna, maybe you'll interfere with them, but these filters are available. Okay? Okay. And low-pass filters are a good way to reduce interference to telephones. Not so much anymore. Yes, you can use them, but the new wireless phones for your house are so well made, and cell phones are now so well tuned that they really don't become a problem. If it was going to be a problem, it would exist in this house, and I don't use the chokes, to be honest with you. No need to. I've never had a problem. Okay? All right. We did buy this, so I'm a techie kind of guy. So we bought this furniture downstairs in the basement where there's no on and off switch to turn the light on. It's like a curio, right? And my wife puts all of the stuff that you can't live without. And then you just touch the hinge and the light goes on. But it's made in China, okay? Well, electronics is certainly made in China. So sometimes if I'm on 40 meters, on the high end of 40 meters, and I press the transmit key, the lights do go on all by themselves. Then my wife goes down to the basement and says, how come I'm supporting the power company? Why don't I turn the lights off? So I just hit transmit one more time, and the light goes off. Okay? So that does happen. Okay? That's the reality of it. Okay? Overload, yes.
You remember I told you about that transmitter we put in?
Yeah.
We had to go around to all the people that lived within a couple of miles of that site and put filters in because their phones and their stereos would play whatever we were broadcasting. Yeah, and we also lit fluorescent lights in a house that lived right across from us. We lit up their fluorescent lights in their bathroom.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. How many watts is that? How many watts is that?
ERP was 16 million.
Holy cow. Wow.
Yeah, it's a 611 curtain antenna.
Wow.
That's probably not good to live in.
Well, you know what? I would certainly look about relocating. That would be first on my list.
They all do it, actually.
Well, I do a lot of work with radiologists, so that's part of what I do for a living. and radiologists would be the first guy in line to move out of there. For some reason, they're very afraid of RF frequencies, and at that level, 16 million watts.
That's a lot of power.
That's a wow.
It was fed with an 8-inch piece of coax.
No way, really?
Yeah, the balance for the curtain antenna were just two great big aluminum I-beams that were like 13 inches at one end and 3 inches at the other.
Wow.
And it had a direct ground to a ground rod. And, of course, we were transmitting 30,000 volts going into that transmitter.
Wow. Holy cow.
At that frequency,
yeah.
At that frequency, it didn't see the grounds as grounds, and it didn't see the insulators as insulators. So.
Yeah. When you get to that power level, it's a whole other set of formulas. Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to go. It's a much higher level of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's something, man. I'd love to see that someday. That's a lot of power. Anyway,
Pictures, I'll send them to you.
I'm sorry?
I have some pictures. I'll send them to you.
Would you? I'd love to see them, just for my own edification. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Anyway, so the overload. Did I ever show you the pictures of the guys who live in Louisiana? Oh man. Hold on. Let me see if I can find them real quick. So this is what they talk about overload, and this just lights my jets, man. Let me tell you. Let's see. Let's see if I can find. I probably can't find it. Hold on. Let me try this guy. Oh yeah. Here we go. All right. Check this out. All right. So this is a guy who lives in Louisiana. Do we have anybody here that lives in Louisiana? I don't think so, right?
I was born in Louisiana.
All right, so good. So could you please explain to me what the hell this person is doing with this stuff? Does he have like relatives on Jupiter or something? I mean, give me a break here. These are all
like
amplifiers. Yeah, no, it's not. It's some guy's house. I can tell you exactly who it is. It's W9EVT. And now what's even funnier, okay, is his neighbor's house. These guys live 2 miles from each other. So this guy and this guy live 2 miles from each other, right? And they talk to each other at night. Are you kidding me? Give me a break. I mean, they have to have family on Jupiter. That's the only thing I can think of, okay? There's no way. There's no way. And they're happy. I mean, they just love this stuff, okay? So this goes to that, what I was going to tell you about overload. So you'll see. You'll get it, okay? You'll be on the radio, and all of a sudden these guys will come on. You won't hear anything else, okay? So whoever you were talking to, that's finished. The law says that maximum, even with an extra, they're allowed 1,500 watts, okay? That's it. Guess what? They got to be cranking out like 300,000 watts. I don't know what they're cranking out. And you'll see that they'll just blow you off the air. Filters will help at some point, okay? But you'll see this. And then, as we were just discussing, these sparse emissions. When you got a station cranking out 16 million watts, man, you're going to have sparse emissions, which means you're done. Hang up the radio, move to another state or something. Wow, 16 million watts. It can also be caused if the radio loses adjustment, okay, which any machine made by man will fail over time. That's just the way it is. Electronics are no exception. Baofungs are no exception. After a while, your Baofungs, I was with Baofungs the first day they came out. After a while, just because heat, cold, transmitting, that kind of stuff, you'll see that they start to lose how adjusted they are. And people say you sound funny or you sound distorted. You take your Baofeng, you unscrew the antenna, you take out the battery, and you throw it in the garbage, okay? They just really can't be retuned. Okay, that's not what it's designed for 30 bucks. So figure on buying a new Baofeng, every 3 or 4 years, Yeah, it still only costs you $10 a year, so it's still a good deal. Okay, so that's what they talk about that. The question they will ask you on your test, okay, will be this one here. Okay, they specifically want to. I'm sorry, I lied to you. I lied. This is the one that they will ask you about right here. Okay, ignition noise. Okay, and this one here, you'll hear a whining. And what does that mean? That means that your alternator in your car is generating that noise, and you have to put on a filter. Okay? So they will ask you this one. So make note of that. You'll hear an alternator whine. Okay? Vijay, you sent me a question. UFO tracking. I didn't understand that question, sir. I don't know what.
It's not a question like earlier we were saying to the guy in Louisiana, what is he doing?
I'm sorry, I still didn't understand.
Oh, you asked a question about what those guys were doing.
Oh,
yeah,
UFO tracking?
Radio.
Yeah, they must be. I think that's past UFO tracking. I think they're trying to bring down the UFOs with just raw RF power. So I don't know what they're doing. I just get a kick out of them, okay? So sometimes you'll get some weird signal, okay? And these are the ones that people... just because they're careless. We have one guy here in New York that he has I know for a fact he owns a Mini, Cooper Mini, and it's 6-speed, and I can tell when he's in 5th gear. For some reason, when he hits 5th gear, he hits the transmit button. And as long as he stays in 5th gear, I can hear what's going on in his car. I can hear that he's talking to his girlfriend, that he had a fight with his girlfriend, that she wants to know it's going to snow, bring home. What is the other thing is I have to ask women, what is it with women and if it snows, bring home bread and milk? It's always the same, bread and milk. We have 75 loaves of bread in this house and 6 gallons of milk. So it's been snowing a lot here. I don't know what that's all about. Can any of the YLs, YL is ham for young ladies. Can any of the young ladies explain that to me? Any volunteers?
I grew up in South Carolina, and we didn't get snow a whole lot, but when it snowed, all bread and milk left the store.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? So who's our guy in Boston?
We live off of wine and cheese, sorry.
Oh, that makes more sense to me. Not that milk. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense, you know. Keep drinking the wine. You don't care how much it snows. So who's our guy in Boston?
That's me.
All right, so tell me true. Do you have any milk or bread left in any store in Boston?
No.
Yeah, all right, good. I'm just, I'm writing a book on that, you know, and I just wanted to make sure my facts were right. All right, anyway, unknown signals.
Hey, Joe, maybe the milk and bread is for the kiddos to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in case everything else is gone, and drink milk.
Oh, okay. Karen writes, Mountain Dew and Cheetos. Okay, that one I understand. That one's not so bad. I got that one. All right, anyway, vodka and anything that can be mixed with it. Okay, I agree with that one, too. It's the milk and bread I'm not sure about. Anyway, unknown signals, jammers, okay. Intentional interference, it does occur. Be ready for it. Don't lose your cool. It's illegal for you to respond to them, okay. So, which is a big problem in our club. So if you hear a jammer and whatever he's doing and you get frustrated, it is illegal for you to talk to them. For the guys here in New York, you're going to use the LImarc repeater, which is the most powerful around, 146.850. We record everything 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the reason we do is so that we can provide evidence for the FCC to hunt down these jammers and find them or whatever they're going to do to them. If you answer them, okay, I can't use that as evidence, okay? Where can you report unauthorized RFI? You can report it to your local club, whoever owns the repeater. They will certainly do something about it. Or there is an RFI at fcc.gov, an email you can send, okay? Do you know a jammer because no call sign? Yeah, because he starts doing all sorts of strange things. We have one jammer here in New York who loves, I mean, he lives for this. Every time it snows, which is every other day here on Long Island, he gets on the radio and starts singing, "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." This is what he loves to do, okay? So he just loves to do this. So if he loves to do it, that's fine. You know, just don't respond to him because you're legal. You're going to be legal. You have your call sign, and the fact that you respond to him, I'm not going to jeopardize your license by turning over that recording to the FCC. So it's very important you just ignore them. Okay? All right. Guidelines. And that's true no matter where you live, by the way. San Diego has one of the largest repeaters on the planet. I think it is the largest repeater system in the world. It goes all the way from San Francisco all the way to San Diego. Amazing, amazing job that they did there. They have the most jammers of any place else on the planet. Okay, so guidelines, guys, ladies, we're going to be ham radio operators. Be responsible. You will not stay at 5 watts, I promise. You'll get HF. You're going to talk to some guy in Australia, and it's going to be just the coolest thing. You'll crank up the power. Please be courteous. That's all that this means, okay? All right, cool. And we're going to talk about Part FCC rules, and we're going to leave that for next time. So we're going to stop here. Any questions or anything we covered? No? I did that good of a job? Wow.
You did good.
Wow, wow, I'm impressed here.
How much space record all that, Joe?
I'm sorry?
How much space does it take to record all that?
What do you mean, on the recording? Not too much. We have a lot of very talented people. We're very fortunate in our club. A lot of them are software engineers, and they're also audio engineers, and they're able to compress the files down to almost no size. Plus, we get a lot of donations of big servers with large hard drives, so we store it on there. And,
cool.
And we store them for about just under 3 years. So, any other questions, guys, ladies, anybody?
Joe, on the bazooka antenna.
Yeah.
Is it important about the direction of winding each pole of the dipole? Do they have to both be wound in the same direction?
No. Nope, not really. I would, just so it stays horizontally polarized. Just as I don't even know that it really makes a difference. I don't think it does. If you guys are interested, actually, on the web, I'm going to send you a link. We run a thing called the TechNet on Sunday night, okay? And the guy who runs it is the most brilliant antenna engineer I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. It's run by LImarc, our club. He is world famous. I think he's got like 300 patents on antennas. So I'll send you guys the link, and you can actually email him since you don't have licenses yet, and you can listen in for his answer on the web. So they broadcast it live on the web at a couple of different sites. And it's called the LImarc, L-I-M-A-R-C, TechNet. You can Google it. And let's see if I can bring it up real quick. And that would be a great question to ask him.
Great, thank you.
No problem. I don't know the answer, and I don't want to give you the answer. So here it is, LImarcTechNet.com, okay? And you can actually listen in, and I would certainly ask Dick. He's very, very, so here it is. He's amazing. He's been running it since 1982. The guy is amazing, and you can stream it live, and you can also hear old questions on the TechNet. He's just, it's LImarcTechNet.com. So he's the guy that I defer to. He's an amazing guy. Any other questions?
Joe, two quick questions.
Yeah.
You mentioned on the Baofengs about wide mode and narrow band. Is that set per channel, or is that just set one time and you're
globally? It's set globally. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then
Everybody knows about MICLOR, right? If you own a Baofeng, you know about MICLOR site.
That's where I found it.
Okay. www.miclor.com. Anything you want to know about Baofengs, this is the de facto. Anything you need to know is here. Okay. So he's the guy, and he's more obsessed than I am. And I own every one of these except for this guy. I don't own this guy. Any other questions?
Yes. Second question, Joe, is.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, besides the Baofengs, what other types of mobile units would you recommend as a getting started type of unit?
I think for the money, that's a decision that you'll make with a little bit of experience. I was asked a question, and I didn't address it this evening. What do I have in my car? What I have in my car is a Baofeng. I have this guy right here, this UV5R, just hooked up. I have the cigarette lighter connector hooked up to my cigarette lighter, and a little magnetic mount antenna. It works fine. It works better than fine. And if it gets wet or gets damaged, I'm out $30. What do I recommend? I love Yaesu radios. They're all beautiful. Yaesu makes a fantastic radio. ICOM makes a very nice radio too, and Kenwood makes an incredible radio also, handheld, and people really seem to love the Kenwood. I don't own a Kenwood, but that's my next radio that I'll get. It depends on where you live, how important is sensitivity to you, and raw power. If you live in Wyoming, for example, I think we have a gentleman from Wyoming with us. A lot of wide open spaces. You're going to need a little extra power as opposed to selectivity. So it's a hard question to answer depending on where you live.
Thanks for that.
I like the elbow room.
I'm sorry?
I said I like the elbow room here in Wyoming.
Oh, so where in Wyoming do you live exactly? Near what town?
Little town called Saratoga.
Well, just so you know, we New Yorkers look at pictures of Wyoming and we say to ourselves, someday we're going to live there. Okay, so yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful there. But do you have a lot of ham radio clubs out by you, or is it a little bit more rural, or?
It's very rural. I live in a town with no stoplights, and I don't know of any other ham operator.
Well, we're all very jealous. I got to tell you, we're all very jealous. Okay, so you probably have no problem putting up a 40-meter dipole. Probably no problem at all. Here, I'd run into my neighbor's yard. So again, the radio I would recommend for him on a handheld would be different than I would recommend to our buddy up in Boston with 105 inches of snow. Again, there's too many variables for me to make a suggestion for you. You have to get a little experience with it and see what you like best. Okay. Any other questions? No, we're good?
Joe?
Yes.
Joe, this is Greg. I missed about the first half of the class with a family emergency. I see the session is being recorded.
Yep.
How do I get to listen to the first half?